Begging your pardon. I was all wrapped up in reading me paper. Good evening, lads and lasses, and wee ones, and welcome to the Medina County Courthouse. My name is Squire Frazier, and I'm the night watchman of this fine building. As you can see, the doors are presently locked, and you must gain access to the building through another entrance. Security measures, mind you. But there was a time when the security of this building was breached at the hands of hooligans. I was on duty Christmas Eve, 1886, during the first attempted burglary of the Medina County Courthouse. It was about 1 a.m., and I had just stepped outside with me pipe. Now, I did say pipe and not pint. To catch myself a breath of fresh air. As I looked out about the square, I saw these two young lads walking about. They were well dressed, and I assumed that they just might be out sparking. Well, I stepped out to offer them my hand in a cheery Christmas greeting. Their response, rude at best, was they forced me back into the courthouse. The cold blue steel of that revolver against me head gave me ample opportunity to oblige them. Once inside, they prevented me from sounding the alarm by taking me jumper and putting it over me head, binding me hands and feet, and then tying me to this bench. I remember as hearing a third voice join the group, and it was he who was left there to guard me and act as a lookout. There I sat, shrouded in darkness, moving not a muscle, and knowing not the whereabouts of me tormentors. I could only sit there praying that no bodily harm befall me, and I might be allowed to see the light of a Christmas day. Well, I remember hearing 4 distinct explosions coming from the treasurer's office. They worked on that safe in the treasurer's office for over 2.5 hours, but were unable to gain access, and they had to leave empty-handed. Well, I was able to free myself and make a full report to the authorities. Later on that day, the authorities reported that those blokes were no better prepared to make a getaway than they were at planning a successful burglary. Wouldn't you know, they had to steal rigs from the barns of Dr. Hard and Gail Hamilton. It was supposed that they took off towards Cleveland because the rigs were later retrieved in the village of Brooklyn. Well, they never did find those ruffians, and it was supposed that they could be part of the notorious Blinky Morgan gang. Well, I was to find out later on that it was he. Mr. Morgan was brought to trial in Ravenna for the alleged murder of a detective hooligan. And wouldn't you know, I was called as a star witness for the burglary attempt here in Medina. Well, and I was able to identify Mr. Morgan. Well, remembering that Morgan murdered that poor detective, I thank me lucky stars that Blinky was a wee bit less violent that night, or perhaps he possessed somewhat of a Yuletide spirit when our paths crossed here in Medina. Well, I thank you for your kind attention, and as you walk about the square, may the luck of the Irish go with you.